So why don't you tell me a little bit about your experience with Hope Village and the tiny houses?
So I lost my job and used up my savings and then needed a place to live. And I stayed with a friend for a while, and she was having her own mental health crisis at the time. So I needed somewhere to go, and I knew Mike from a previous experience. And so I called him, and he got me into the tiny house out at Chippewa Valley Bible Church. And I was there a year, found a wonderful job. Now I have a wonderful place to live. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
When was this?
I got this job in December of last year, and I moved into my apartment in May, because there's no, affordable housing in Chippewa. So it took a while to find a place to live, but yep, I love it.
So Mike, what was that conversation like for you?
I just remember, so Lisa was in a tiny house previous, so we talked a little bit about whether or not she thought that she could live in a tiny house again, and we were going to match her up with some pretty strong mentors to help her through her secure living program, and I just wanted to make sure that she was okay with that, because she had left the first time and had a pretty successful job and
had a really good job.
Found a place to live, and I think this time you were dealing with more depression and those kind of things than you were the first time. So I knew that was going to be a challenge for her, and we just wanted to make sure that she thought that she could make progress. So I think that was the conversation that we had. So.
And so you move back into the tiny house, and what does the first couple of days look like for you?
They're terrible. I mean, you feel really isolated because you're not seeing people every day. Sorry. It's tough, but you know what? I had amazing mentors. Jen and Carrie are amazing. It's like, without them and Mike, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. What's that mentorship relationship look like with residents?
It's amazing. I mean, literally, it's amazing. Gail and I became friends before this happened, and then she was my mentor. And her words to me were, "You're not going to forget me, are you?" We do all the things. Coffee, politics, religion, all the things.
So it's like a little bit of a family.
It is, for sure.
I think it's the one thing that Hope Village does that's a little bit different than what other, perhaps a shelter can do, is that we know that some folks, at least, that are homeless just have lost connection with their relationships. Some because they want to, because those relationships weren't that great. And others because they're maybe in a different location than they used to be. But what we sensed from the very beginning is that if we could match our guests with a navigator and with a couple of mentors that they could stay in contact with daily, and we have some great volunteers from the churches who also become part of that network.
For sure.
So kind of what we're doing is building a safety network around them. And that safety network doesn't go away once they move out of the tiny house, because you build relationships with your mentor, and you build relationships with Carrie and Jen and,
for sure,
and others. And so that safety net then is there, so that if something comes up 5 months after you move out of a tiny house, as long as you think to contact us again, or if we've stayed connected that whole time, we can kind of step in and provide some extra support. So we find out that in the very beginning, those first few days, we need to have pretty heavy support from the mentors, because living in a tiny house is it's new to everybody. And then we kind of start pulling back as people have been in the tiny house longer. But when they're about to move out, moving out of the tiny house into an apartment is almost as scary as moving into the tiny house for some people. So
I was like, I have an oven.
Yeah, so sometimes it's like they're not sure they can be successful in permanent housing, so we have to bring in more support at the end.